everybody. Happy new week. Hope you're doing amazing. I am super excited to be back this on Monday morning, as per usual, with another one of our recently hot off the press published authors and best-selling author, Martess Dowling. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's been a lovely journey.
Yeah, I love it. And do you want to show us your book? What we're talking about, Is He Ever Going to Leave His Wife? Is the book title. So let me guys give you the introduction of who Martess is, and then we're going to get stuck into the conversation. So Martess Dowling is a wife of 40 years, a mother, and a creative entity that has worked in some unusual professions, from an award-winning cake decorator, tarot reader for more recently, a marriage celebrant, and now a published author, best-selling published author. As a tarot reader, she became fascinated with the dynamics within relationships, especially how desperate people were for answers to their unhappy situations. So wanting to help the countless people she spoke with prompted her to research all facets of relationships. Now her first book, Is He Ever Going to Leave His Wife?, has come to fruition to give valuable insight, practical solutions, and empower those women in a relationship with a married man. Using humour and empathy, Is He Ever Going to Leave His Wife? Helps equip you with the skills to make sound decisions, make yourself a priority, and empower you for a better life with or without a married man. Amazing. So congratulations. Quite a unique topic, right?
It is. It's something that it's sort of in the shadows all the time, because nobody really, or unless they speak to their best friend, it's not actually talked about because it is a taboo subject, you know. So I thought to myself, there are countless people out there who are in this very situation, but who do they turn to, you know? Yes, they can turn to their friends and family, but they don't always get a good reception with that. So I researched, and that's why I then wrote the book.
Wow. So what was it like? What kind of prompted you? That's like, how long had you been thinking about it? And like, talk me through, like, the line in the same moment, I need to bring this out into the world.
Basically, as I said, I was doing tarot, and most of the conversations were about, finally they said, is he ever going to leave his wife? You know, and I thought, there's a book in this somewhere, because there are so many people who are stuck in a situation like this, but where do you go? Where do you turn to? So I went onto the internet, and there is information there, but it's very sporadic. And I thought, you know what, I could write a book about this and really help people who are in this situation, because it is a unique situation and it is very painful, especially when, you know, you've been in a situation with this man for more than 1 to 10 years, you know, you think, for goodness sake, he keeps promising, and you don't know that he's not actually going to leave, you know, because the thing is, they've always got hope. They give them hope all the time that, yes, I'll leave my wife. Yes, I'll leave, but they don't. So through the book, I actually give you exercises to do, right? And I teach you basically the difference between an excuse and a reason. There is an excuse why he's not leaving his wife, but there is a good reason, and you have to learn to differentiate the two. So yeah, so that's why I wrote the book. And it was basically last year that I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I got all my notes together, because I'd been collating notes and talking to people for about 10 years. Yes. And then I thought, right, I'm writing it. So I did.
You did, absolutely. So maybe let's go through some insights. What are people going to get from reading the book? What's your hope that it's going to impart with others?
Well, basically, I wrote the book so that, first of all, it empowers the person. They are no longer in this helpless, hopeless situation. They are living like in a fantasy, you know, they are hoping that this man is going to leave his wife, but they also need to look at the reality of it. How long have you been with him? How, you know, what situation is he in? Yes, he's probably got children as well. But the thing that I've researched and found out is that children actually, if they are living in a toxic situation, it is worse off for them than being in a situation where mum and dad are separated, they're no longer living together. And so it is healthier for them. But the excuse is, I can't leave because of the kids. Actually, that's rubbish, you know. So it's one of the things that, you know, men will say, I can't leave because of the kids. But as I said, if they are in a toxic relationship, like husband, wife are fighting, or they just completely ignore each other, it is harmful for the children. So I then went on to study, and as I said, through the book, the woman becomes more empowered. She understands the situation that she's in. She's able then to do something proactive about it. And I give her exercises to do, like write down exactly all the good things and the bad things about the relationship. And by doing that, you're offloading it from inside you. Like if you're actually writing it down on paper, it's doing something positive, so that you are no longer holding on to the anger, the grief, the anguish, whatever you are going through. And as I said earlier, most women, they don't talk to other people about it. They may talk to their very close friends, but the close friends will always say, oh, why are you seeing a married man, for heaven's sake? You know, this is not going to come to anything. Oh, no, he really loves me. He just doesn't like his wife, you know. But that is something in itself. If you are with a married man and he says, my wife is the biggest, and fill in the blank, look at that, because she wasn't always like this. So what made her that way? And that's just something that you need to look at in the book, you know. So yeah, the 3 takeaways basically that I give is you'll be able to empower yourself. You'll see the situation with fresh eyes, a new perspective. And there are also what not to do. That's a real important one, because some people, if they break up with them, they think, right, I'm going to get you back. But no, please. I've seen actually what can happen with this going really wrong. She says, right, I'm so angry at him because he promised to be with me, that I am going to do this or do that to him, or go and tell his wife. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I tell you why in the book. So
leave us hanging. Leave us hanging there, so people get the book to find out. I'm sure, like, there's so many. I mean, there would be many people all over the world in this situation. And yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
So many have been written on relationships, but I have to say I haven't seen something like this, which is quite unique.
Yeah, a couple of people have said to me, this is groundbreaking, this is unique, you know. And I said, well, not many people will want to talk about it because it is painful for them. And that's one of the other reasons why I did write the book, because everybody knows, at least everybody, or they'll know somebody who is in this relationship, you know, where they are seeing a married man, or a married man is seeing a woman, you know. And it also works for gay people, exactly the same situation. And I thought to myself, you know, I've looked for books out there on this topic, but as yet I haven't found any. So this is why I then wrote it. And I thought, right, this could help a lot of people.
Yeah. I love it. So, you know, what are some, you mentioned earlier about an excuse and a reason. Can you give us maybe I think you mentioned that the kids could be an excuse. What's the reason? Like, give me maybe an understanding.
Okay, a reason would be if, say, for example, his wife is terminally ill, or she is ill. That is a reason why he cannot leave her. If they are both financially tied up together, I mean, you know, some people, they are very wealthy, but hey, you know, if I try and separate from this woman, she's going to take everything I've got. That's not necessarily the case, because the laws have changed regarding divorce. But the reason is that they are afraid to actually lose everything they've got. So a reason is valid, it's true. Whereas an excuse is like, oh, I can't leave because of the kids. I can't leave because, you know, I'm frightened what my family is going to say, just things like that, you know. They're not plausible. Even though they say, oh, you know, my kids are everything. Yes, but they are living in a toxic environment. So you get to learn to differentiate the two.
Yeah.
My cat just jumped up, so so yeah,
Well,
you get to differentiate the two. What is a reason? What's an excuse?
and that happens in all sorts of areas in our lives where, you know, when you
Yes,
tell when people come up with excuses of why they can't do something when they truly can if they chose to.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
one of the biggest excuses is, oh, you know, I've been with my wife for all these years and it's going to count to nothing. Yeah, but why are you so angry at her and nasty, you know, all the time?
Yeah.
Why are you so unhappy? So have you talked to your wife? Have you gone through why you are unhappy together? You know, a lot of the times it's because they haven't actually spoken to each other and tell them, right, I'm unhappy because, you know, they can't get to that stage, and this is where they then go to marriage counselling, and that's all it is, talking to each other. You know, they can't even do that.
Open communication.
Yes.
Do you explore the aspect? I can see the cat's tail in the video.
Sorry. You get down, madam.
That's funny.
Sorry, go on.
No, you're right. You're right. I could see whiskers, but then when the cat's tail came, I said, must be the cat. I love it. That's too funny. What was it? I've lost my train of
Do I
thought.
explore?
Oh yes. Do you explore why people end up in these kind of situations, or
Yes.
what attracts somebody to someone who's married or continues a relationship? How did that come about as well?
A lot of the times it is because of upbringing. Like if they are in a dysfunctional relationship with the parents,
Yeah.
they carry that on. There
Yeah.
are a number of reasons that I talk about in the book. If they are narcissistic, and there are several types of narcissism, then you will find a narcissist is more likely to have an affair than a person who is, you know, whole and sort of present with his wife.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
do run through all that and give you excuses, give you reasons and give you examples
Yeah.
about all that. So
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, because I mean, not everyone's grown up the same way, and
no,
you know,
uh,
the beliefs around relationships and what, you know, what
yes,
they their behavior is also very different. So what are some, you know, you talk about the fact that there's a lot of uncertainty in situations like this. What
yes.
are some ways that, you know, people can deal with this uncertainty?
On the woman's side who is seeing a married man, first and foremost, she needs to be honest with herself. Right, how long has she seen this man? If he keeps promising but not delivering, that's a big thing to look at in itself. You need to understand that, okay, this man has promised, he's not delivered, but how are you actually feeling about this? And I go through in the book, okay, these are the steps that you can take to look after yourself. And the very first thing I talk about is break contact with him for a few days. Don't talk to him, to see how you actually feel about not being with him. Yes,
Yeah.
he's the love of your life. Yes, he's the most wonderful man that ever lived. If you don't get off my table, I'm gonna thank you. So yeah, there's a whole heap of things that she can do to put her in the present, to look at her situation and say, where am I going to be 10 years from now? If he doesn't leave his wife, what's my life going to be like? If I want children and he doesn't, how's that going to pan out? You know, and it ends up being very bitter, very nasty. It doesn't matter how much you love him or he loves you. There is never a good outcome unless he is actually taking the steps to leave his wife. And there are signposts along the way. And one of the things I've done is you can have a free, on my website, there is a free list of will he leave his wife or won't he leave his wife? And you can then just tick off, well, he's done this, done this, done this. So yeah, it looks like he might leave his wife, you know, and you can help him and encourage him to do so.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I've got your website up here. Let me share it with people watching. So this is Martess's website. It's her name, Martess Dowling, Martess, and then Dowling. And here is some some questions that you've got in terms of 10 things to ask yourself. You've got on there, we've got the book there that you can purchase. And further down, I think this is for international orders. Is that right? A QR code?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And where did you say the little checklist is? Is that the questions here?
No, if you go to about,
yeah,
that will give you, because there's different pages. Oh no, hang on. The list is actually, I'll put it up on the very first page.
The questions, right?
Yes. You go further down, and there should be a little link. Hang on.
Here we go. Get your free will, he or won't he leave his life a wife?
Yes.
Yes.
I might have to make that bigger, actually. Cause
yeah, make it bigger. But there's a little handout such a
you
awesome.
can print that out and yeah, have a look through, and it's all based on what I've discovered talking to countless women about this, and some men, but it's usually a woman. So I thought, you know, there must be a formula that you can actually follow to see whether he's going to leave his wife or not. Yeah. So that's why I did that. Yeah.
That's really helpful. That is really helpful, because a lot of the time people don't understand the signs.
No.
I guess you've had so many conversations with people in these situations.
Yes, lots.
You've observed patterns.
Yes.
And when, goes in a positive direction, or, just doesn't happen.
And I've done a lot of research on human psychology, human behavior, going back to why they actually behave like this, and as I've found out, it's either nature or nurture, and most of the time it is nurture, because they have had a toxic environment that they've been brought up in, or they are narcissistic. And narcissism actually comes from a trauma that has happened. So as a result, they develop into this narcissistic person. And a lot of people think narcissism is just like, oh, every time you go past the mirror, you think, oh, I'm so gorgeous. But it's not like that at all. There's different levels of narcissism, which I talk about in the book. Right. And it really connects with some people. I've had some people say, I read this and I'm thinking, this is my partner. And I said, well, now you know what to do and what to not do, So yeah, it's all in there and helpful in the book.
Very cool. Actually, this is a really nice follow on from last week's interview we had with Hisanthi, one of our authors who, wrote about getting out of a narcissistic relationship, and all that relationships over her life. And this kind of tackles a different aspect of it, and who potentially has these kinds of relationships and things like that. And you're certainly not sitting here, telling, encouraging people to leave their wives. Like,
no.
Got to, people need to figure out, is this relationship salvageable or not? And and why is this second relationship happening out there?
Exactly. It's not actually about the woman in the marital situation. I haven't really talked. I have got a chapter about her and what things to look for. Like, it's not going to be her fault, even though he says, oh, she's this, she's that. Don't necessarily take that as being gospel, because she hasn't always been like that. But I do touch on that. The thing that I concentrate on is the woman who is having the affair with the married man. This is all about her.
Or vice versa, whoever's having the affair with someone who's already like married and things like that. Yes. That's really interesting. I mean, it's just a whole other world that I'm not. I don't know about this myself, but obviously it's very, very common. I mean, we see it in the shows, in the movies, and all that stuff that it happens. It's nothing's really just made up. It comes from real life situations, and
absolutely,
people are living in this type of identity. Do you talk about, I'm just curious, do you talk about the person who is obviously engaged with a married person, what about the mindset around, okay, well, if you did leave his wife or whatever it is, or the husband, what do they worry, like the mindset around, is he going to do that to me if we're
Yes.
in a relationship? Do you tackle that?
Yes, because there is a fallout when they leave their wife. I mean, it's not happily ever after, because they have to deal with the wife, the family, the extended family. And if it gets too much for them, they will say, look, this is all wrong. I shouldn't have left my wife. Go back. And I have a chapter in that explains this may happen and why and what to do about it. And this is why it's so important for the woman to empower herself, that she's not going to be a screaming wreck at the end of it. If it does happen, you know, it's more about the woman saying, right, I need to be in a position of power here. She's giving away her power all the time to this man because she's waiting for him. Now it's time for her to regain her power and stand on her own 2 feet. And even though it's scary, she will do it, and she will come in a better situation. She'll become much more confident. So there isn't going to be this risk, oh my gosh, if I, you know, leave him or whatever, or he leaves me, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, yes, you will know what to do, because it's in the book. You know, and it's coming from people who have left a situation, or they have been left themselves, and how to pick up the pieces, how to pick up those shattered pieces, and your heart will be broken. So, and I do mention that, look, you know, there is, and it's in the part where you are having a polyamory relationship. A married couple decide, well, you know, we're young and trendy, we can see other people. And they see other people, but there are pitfalls along the way. What about if they fall in love with the other person? You know, how is that going to go with the relationship that they have already? If children come along, how's that going to affect them? So there's that as well, and that deals with in an extent as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Gosh, you've thought about every angle of all of this, and of course, you know, that's why you've wanted to put it in a book so much. So, what's the intention moving forward with the book? What do you hope to do with it? You know, how do you hope to spread the message and the word?
What I'm hoping is that I'll be able to advertise on advertise on places like Amazon, Barnes and Noble. They've got the book already, and people can buy that through them, either in Kindle form or in book form. But starting to sort of talk to other people, perhaps going to groups and talking about this. The book that you've given me about leveraging your book has given me a lot of really good ideas. But yeah, I'm going to start doing a weekly Instagram thing about, okay, this is what happens. Is he ever going to leave his wife? Yeah.
Little snippet.
Yeah, little snippets.
How was the process of going through writing and then publishing, and, you know, going through all the bits and pieces with us?
It was fantastic. You know, your team are so supportive. If they say, right, I'm going to get back to you, they will get back to you. And I found the whole process a real joy, you know, and it was one of the highlights of then, not just having my book given to me, you know, here it is, here's my book, but to me, the process was the real journey, was the real joy about this, having it edited, having it done properly, and then the final result is just like, oh, you know, so I was really excited. But yeah, if anybody's thinking of writing a book, do so, and go through the ultimate 48-hour challenge, because very much so they are top people.
And you were really wonderful to work with as well, because you were so dedicated, and everything we asked you to do, you would then send it back to us, and you kept the process moving along really nicely. Yeah, I believe you came through with a session which we call like a hybrid publishing.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah, which he gave you some guidance on the structure and what to do, and then off you did, went and did, and you stayed very disciplined. So I've got to commend you on that. A lot of the time when people they need to finish it on their own without coming to a 3-day program, it's a lot lonelier than doing it with a group of people. But then you went through, you did your publishing journey with the girls in publishing, and then you know, we ran the Amazon #1 bestseller campaign, and you know, you hit #1, and congratulations on all of those things.
Thank you.
It's been you did it in a very timely manner as well. Like, you didn't take years, or you know, I think it was, you know, within 6 months everything was done and dusted.
Yes, only because when I had that interview with Stuart,
Yeah.
he said to me, oh yeah, okay, send me the introduction and the first 2 chapters. And I'm thinking, they're going to say no to this, you know. 3 days later, he said to me, send me the rest of the book. And I was jumping, literally jumping around the house going, oh, you know. So then I really got stuck into polishing it up, finishing it, sending it to you. And then the editing process started, and the editor, she was beautiful, you know. And she said, I really love the humour that's in the book. And I deliberately put humour in there because it is such a heavy topic, but that humour breaks that heaviness, and it's very appropriate for the book. So I put that in, and a lot of people have commented, I love the way you commented about this, you know, and it's really funny. And I thought, well, I'm really glad that you enjoyed that. So yeah, but that's why I did it, because it is such a heavy topic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And that question, just the title of the book, is something you obviously had so many people say it over and over and over again. And so
it was a no-brainer, you know, is he ever going to leave his wife? And I'm thinking, this is what everybody asks eventually. I mean, when I did a tarot, it's all there in front of me, and I'm thinking, oh, here we go again, you know. And I'd say to them, darling, are you seeing another person outside of your marriage or relationship? Yeah, how can you tell? It's all there in the cards, you know, so the cards never lie. But yeah, you can tell, and just the way they talk about things. And then I just shove the cards to one side, and we have this heart to heart, you know. And she says to me, you know, do you think he's going to leave his wife? And I'm thinking, that's what everybody asks. So hence the title of the book.
Well, congratulations. I'm really proud of everything you've done so far. And I do encourage everyone who's listening to this, you know, if you know someone in your life that is in this situation, or maybe it's you, go and grab the book. That's a way of keeping it nice and private to get some answers for yourself.
Yes.
You know, we shared Martess's website earlier, martessdowling.com. But also you can find this book on Amazon, on all your good online resellers. If you just search, is he ever going to leave his wife book? And it'll pop up, and you can get it from there in Kindle and in paperback. I'll share your website one more time on the screen so people can see it. And it's got that wonderful resource that you shared earlier about the checklist, which I've got on the screen here. That we went, I'm just going to backtrack from there. That's the website right here, Martess Dowling, MartessDowling.com only, guys. For those of you from Australia, don't add the AU. But there's some questions there, and as you scroll down, you can get the book either from this website or from the online resellers. So thank you so much, Martess, for joining me today with your cat.
Thank you for having me.
A couple of moments of the cat's tail coming through the video, but that's all good.
She's a real diva, so yes.
Yeah, I love it. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing how it all kind of unfolds in the feedback that you start receiving as more and more people get their hands on this book. So,
thank you.
Everybody, have a wonderful week, and I'll
see
you
too.
Next week.